And Donald Trump was totally unhinged. Unhinged. He was a bit sensitive, and I think his feelings were hurt, but he threw a temper tantrum out on stage, seriously, threw a total temper tantrum, and was talking about revenge. So after he talked about revenge and had a little something to say about me, that's fine. We raised $1 million online right after he did that. Then the next day, Unhinged again says, for anybody that supports Nikki Haley, you will be barred from MAGA. So we had a little fun with that. We started selling t-shirts that said barred permanently. We sold 10,000 t-shirts. We raised another $1.6 million.
Oh, that's right. My mic. Come on, man, get with it. What's going on here? Viva, you're screwing this up. Good evening, everybody. Hold on. So I didn't make the smashing intro that I was anticipating to make, and I wanted to play around with that video a little more. It's still in the backdrop, so I'll bring it up. Good evening, everybody. How goes the battle? I'll give it straight up, warn everybody right now. If you came for Barnes's big brain and you're going to be disappointed if he's not going to be here, you're going to be disappointed because Barnes can't make it tonight. He's in transit. I think I don't know if he was happy with the football game or not, but I noticed he was tweeting about how it seems that one team has many more penalties than the other, and I think that was maybe a jab at the reffing. Some people suggesting his favoritism in the reffing. If you came for Barnes, he's not going to be here tonight. We had to put the show off to tomorrow night. That being said, and Mark, I did extend invites to numerous other people, and not numerous, a few other people, because there's some topics that I wanted to ask them about. And if they do say yes, well, then we're going to see them in a bit. We got Mark Grobert coming in to fill the void that Barnes' absence is going to leave tonight. I say Barnes is the big brain of law, and Grobert is the big brain of... I'm not going to reduce it to or minimize it to say just, Hollywood, because Grobert is the conspiracy theorist connoisseur, for those of you who don't know who he is. America's Untold Stories with Eric Hunley, Lord Buckley on Twitter. I'll have to ask him. I forget exactly why he's called Lord Buckley. And people, we're going to have a show tonight, and it's going to be a show nonetheless. And we're going to talk law stuffs with Barnes tomorrow. Let me just tell everybody how this goes for those of you who are new to the channel. People are complaining about the mic. There can't be any problems with the mic. Just started. We start on YouTube, Rumble, and Locals. And we're on X, by the way. We are streaming on X. I'm using Rumble Studio. It will be the only thing I use, unless emergencies arise where I'm on my phone, whatever. There are a number of things which they're going to make improvements on, one of which is the ability to share links in advance of the stream. Thus far, I can only create the link to the stream in advance on Rumble. So I can't share YouTube, Twitter, or vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Not that I would even want to share the YouTube and the Twitter links, but it's to say it doesn't populate a live upcoming in those yet. So people don't know about it until they get their notifications. So you might want to follow us on vivabarneslaw.locals.com or me on Twitter, the Viva Frei, so you know when the show goes live. Okay. The other thing is that as we start on YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. At a given point, we're going to end it on YouTube and move over to the free speech platform, Rumble and Locals. vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And then, this is the way Rumble Studio is set up for now. When we end on Rumble, we go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com, and it's set up for supporters only, and that's where the after party goes. vivabarneslaw.locals.com. You don't need to be a supporter to get a ton of amazing content, to be part of a community that is above average and has proven why it is indeed above average. But if you so choose to become a supporter, it's $10 a month, $100 a year at the discounted rate for those who missed last year's rate. And it's a wonderful place where you get a ton of exclusive stuff, Bourbon with Barnes, Hush Hushes, Viva family stuff. I have a good one from today. I was at a trampoline house, and I was at a Okay. We're on the good mic. Okay. You just muted yourself because I'm an idiot. It's better. Don't know how I did that. All right, people. So the story of the weekend, E. Jean Carroll, a madam who, in my humble estimation, is batshit crazy and demonstrably so. $83 million verdict against Trump coming out of New York. $65 million punitive damages. We're going to talk about it. And I see Buckley's in the backdrop, so maybe I'm just going to bring Buckley in. Lord Buckley, you gotta click on the video to unvideo yourself and unmute yourself. I'm back to audio, right? Let me just make sure that I'm back to audio. How did I do that? Audio gone, now back. Okay, good. Yeah, I turned down my gain a little bit. Maybe that was what was explaining the clicking. And let's see. Buckley's in the house. Are you ready, Buckley, to be brought in? It looks like he looks like he's futzing around with something and can't figure it out. Look at the bottom of the screen. You see a microphone, and you got to click on it and then wait because it's a little bit slow when you unmute it.
Oh, okay. See that now. Right. Go on.
Now let me go duo and bring you in. Oh, hey, sir.
Whoa. Looky. Balls caught on hooky.
Grobert, what I say, I'll ask you, how goes the battle, sir?
Not so good.
What's going on?
Yeah, Middle East wars, trouble, service, age, diet, urinary tract. You could go on and on.
Have you got a UTI?
No, but I could.
Well, I don't know if you have a vagina.
You know what I got now? I've got like frequent urination now. I don't know what that is, where you drink a bottle of water and it comes out in 5 seconds.
That is interesting, by the way. Not to say that I have the same problem, and we're going to talk like a couple of old yentas about our medical. I occasionally, if I'll have caffeine on an empty stomach, it'll make me pee just every 2 seconds. But you are talking to someone who pees every hour and a half to 2 hours in the night. I've done it for the last.
Oh, you've got nocturnal. You should try baking soda.
You know what I'll try?
These are the topics we have to discuss.
Cod liver oil.
Liver oil.
Okay. Mark, before we get into it, I don't think there's anybody watching who doesn't know who you are. But in the event that there are people.
Oh, okay. So America's Untold Stories with Eric Hunley. We're on Tuesdays and Fridays on YouTube, Rumble, Locals. We're in the Locals family. Unstructured.locals.com. I just heard you give a promotion for your Locals. If you join one, you can go and skirt around and look at all the others. Ours is a lot cheaper than Viva's. We're $70 a year. And you get, if you join today, you get part 2 of our Oswald AI script that we've done. We've got part 1 out there. Part 2, this is 5 parts, a project I did with Oliver Stone that was never made into a miniseries. So we are using, and Eric and a group of elves are using AI technology to bring the script to life with sound effects, with actors, the actual voices you will hear from the Oswald characters. And this is a 5-part series that we're doing for Locals only, Viva. So you mentioned Locals. This is exclusive to our Locals, and you could come over and join and get access to it. You also get the actual script that I wrote with Oliver Stone about 10 years ago.
Fantastic. And there's a lot of good stuff on Locals. So if those who have the the means, it's amazing communities. Hold on, Mark, I forgot. Someone said admitted Viva. Hold on. Let me bring up the rant on Rumble. It says, Finboy Slick says, admitted, Viva, you play Nikki or Justin just to start the stream, just so that we're happy, relieved when you start talking, don't you? Okay, am I the only one, or does Nikki Haley not rub every wrong nerve in your body when she talks? I don't know when, because I didn't find this of her in the beginning. She's getting amazingly overconfident despite failure, where she wasn't like this to begin with, and it's getting amazingly annoying to listen to her. And I don't know if something new.
Well, I don't listen to her, so my policy has been this is a binary race from day one. I didn't bother to get involved with any of the debates. I never saw any logic to it. I don't care what they're saying. I don't care what their viewpoints are until 2028. I do not care how they think. I do not care how they feel. I just know this is a politics 101 binary race between Trump and Biden. And they're finally saying this on news channels. What I've been saying for 6 months is I want this field to be cleared out of every single scallywag, detractor, backer, whoever it is. And that includes people supporting Trump. I want them all to go away because I want Frazier versus Ali. I want the rumble in the jungle. I want these two guys to go head to head. I want the media vacuum to disappear and simply have media focused on the two candidates. The mainstream media and the deep state wants to muddy the waters. They do not want Biden to be in the ring with Trump for 12 rounds. They're trying to shorten the fight to 3 rounds, 2 rounds, whatever amount of rounds they could possibly do. And these people with either good intentions, bad intentions, are trying to take away the media focus and put it on themselves, which I am all for in 2028, but not now. This is too important, too big. We have very little time, and I wanted to focus on these two men.
You've seen this clip, right, Mark? If you follow me on Twitter, you had to have seen it. Listen to this, and I'll offer my 2 cents.
Donald Trump, when he was commander-in-chief, refused to visit a cemetery, U.S. cemetery outside of Paris.
Okay.
Refused.
All American soldiers.
What is refused?
Those heroes, and I quote, as suckers and losers.
He quotes. Who's he quoting?
He actually said that.
Wait, I'm not hearing anything.
He said
so
that.
I don't know
How
what you're
dare
showing
he
there.
say that?
Oh, you can't hear this?
I don't hear it, nor do I see it.
Well, because I'm an idiot, Grobert. That's why.
Okay, all right. Don't beat yourself
Jeez,
up. Okay.
Louise. Okay, now you've disappeared. I'll figure out how to.
Well, you don't need me. Just show what you got to show. You don't need me.
Well, I think we can hear you, but what an idiot I'm just. I'll get used to it, people. It's Rumble Studio. I'm still not 100% fluent. Okay, here.
Donald Trump,
Listen to
when
this.
he was commander-in-chief, refused to visit a cemetery, U.S. cemetery outside of Paris.
Refused.
For fallen American soldiers.
Bullshit number one.
And he referred to those heroes, and I quote, as
And I quote, bullshit. He's quoting him. Where's the quote?
suckers and losers.
Listen to this.
Wow.
Rage.
He actually said that.
He said that.
He said that. How dare he say that? How dare he talk about my son and all of us just like that?
Yeah.
Look,
I don't even understand what he just said there. My son and.
how dare he talk about my son and all of us just like that?
Blah, 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 blah.
Look, I call them patriots and heroes.
Okay,
The
so.
only loser I see is Donald Trump.
Okay, first, I cannot express how much I hate. I can't say I hate that man because I believe he's mentally demented.
Yeah.
And you're not hating a human. You would be saying you're hating a disease.
I know.
Everything about that, and I don't know if it's been community noted yet, but I've been tagging them. The accusation is that in 2018, Trump refused to visit a cemetery on the outskirts of Paris, and then referred to soldiers as suckers and losers. From what I can tell, and it's at least disputed, Trump's claim at the time was that it was raining and visibility was terrible, so they couldn't chopper in, and that he wanted to drive in, but that his Secret Service says driving is not safe. And if anybody's been to Paris, you'd know exactly why. The suckers and losers has been vigorously denied by everyone on Team Trump. It's been denied by people on the campaign. He said they never heard him say such things. The only one idiot who said it, from what I understand, is the guy John Kelly or John Kelly, who wrote a book. So everything about that is a filthy lie. That man is a demented old man. And I'm saying that because anybody who's ever seen dementia, outbursts of anger like that, like frothing, unhinged anger is one of the telltale signs. I play that clip on the one hand to tell people it's a load of shit, go tag it with community notes. But he's never going to step into the debate with Trump ever at any point, assuming he's going to be the one on the ballot. But I don't think he is.
I agree with you. I mean, I just want the media every night to show these two men. I want to show the eloquent, verbose Trump and this blithering idiot who is just rambling on. Anything else is a distraction, Viva. I just want to see these two guys because we are not a parliamentary democracy. We don't have multiple parties. I don't care what Marianne Williamson does or Cornel West or RFK, my mother, Vivette. I don't care about any of that stuff. I want to show that what you just showed every single night of him giving a speech somewhere in the United States. He will destroy himself. He will bury himself by doing what he's doing now. Denouncing MAGA, yelling fascism, quoting Hitler, railing and screaming about Trump. He will bury himself. And others have pointed out how Trump is now trying to embrace and open up his arms to the party by, giving a lot of credit to a lot of people who helped him get where he is right now. Where this goes, of course, they immediately said he wanted to be a dictator. And apparently Trump, which is what I said the next day, is I wanted him to run in every single primary there is. Because if he runs in every single primary, he can have a victory in every single primary. He can have a press conference after every single primary. And this guy has nothing. He has no races to run, Biden. He will have to stand in a still place while Trump racks up primary win after primary win after primary win. I hope Nikki Haley does not go away. I hope she stays and fights him. And Nikki Haley could be the New Jersey Generals to Trump's Harlem Globetrotters and let him beat her every single primary between here and the convention, as far as I'm concerned.
I predicted she's going to be out in a month, and some people said the only reason why I'm wrong is it's going to be shorter than that. I'm going to pin this up because another recommendation that I've made to Rumble, they're going to have to do it, is allow me to pin these so I can come back to them later. Cat Zap, did I see the open gates at the border? Yes, we're talking about it tonight, so stay tuned about that. I've made my prediction. Who do you think is going to be on the ballot for the Democrats?
I have said since the beginning that I believe that a couple of weeks before the convention, he's going to bail out for health reasons. He's not going to bail out of the presidency. He's going to bail out of re-election. He's going to pull a 1968, March 31st, LBJ, I will not accept, nor will I run for my party's nomination in 1968. He's going to say the same exact things. The Democrats love their own history. I think they're going to bring in Gavin Newsom, and I think Biden's going to stand on the stage with balloons coming down with Newsom in his hand raised above their heads. I believe that Harris will get a number of delegates to show that the thing is legal. And I think Newsom will be the nominee for the party, and we'll have a shortened fight against Trump from August till November. I think that's the only logical thing. I think they're scared shitless right now of this guy not being able to cross the finish line, or urinating in his pants, or defecating. It could be one or the other. I'm not predicting defecation or urination, but anything could happen with this guy at this time. I don't know how strong adult Pampers are. I've never worn them, so
you're not being glib right now. I mean, I know there's an actual real risk that he might shit himself in public.
Oh no, I'm being half serious, but I mean they are being fully serious. They're looking at every single option they have. I mean, obviously the trials against Trump have only made him stronger. That didn't work. Arresting all of his friends didn't work. They've gone now they're at Plan F, where they may just have to eliminate him physically if they could do that, which is not beyond their comprehension, as people are now well aware following, our multiple part JFK series. This is not beyond the realm of possibilities in the United States. In 1968, all three leaders were killed within, Malcolm X and then Martin Luther King and also RFK in 1968, Malcolm X before that and JFK before that. But it's not beyond our comprehension to understand that as a nation.
Let me bring this up. I don't think I've asked you this. In fact, I'm certain I haven't. I don't know how to keep you in the screen while I share the screen. Let me see if I can do it.
It doesn't matter.
No, but and I don't know if people can hear you when I boot you when I go to. So now, no, you're out. I don't know where you went. Let me just try one thing here. Auto. No, now you're back in. Now that's just me. Now that's me and you, and this is presentation. All right. Take another note. I can't have two people in the screen when I'm on the screen. Mm-hmm. Did you see this article?
Last year, the crime and inflation evaporated, so the leading theories. No, I did not.
Okay, so the article is irrelevant. It's just a load of a load of political spin. Oh, crime is down, inflation is down, and ignoring that when you stop reporting crime and when you legalize crime, crime goes down. And when you play with inflation, inflation goes down. This is what people had noticed: a bullet hole. And Mr. Grobert, if you look on the right, how much money do we have there?
30, 35, 45, 47.
47.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to bring this out.
Okay.
Some people are hypothesizing that that's a suggestion, subconscious, whatever. Put a bullet in 47.
Oh. Well, I never put much weight to those things. Well, believe me, there's other ways to get the message across.
Well, and so Alex Soros put out a tweet where he quoted the article, and those two images come up in the tweet, and everyone's like, yeah, well, including me. I was like, if this were someone on the right, FBI would be at their front door, 6 o'clock in the morning.
I don't disagree. I
can't ask whether or not you think I don't want to put that juju in the universe. The idea is they're going to do everything they can to prevent Trump from running. But
I think the physical jailing is inevitable. I mean, all you got to do, it's just too easy to invoke a gag order and invoke a violation of a gag order.
You think they're gonna lock him up at some point between now and
there's just no way around it. There's just no way around it, because the gag order, the simplicity of violating a gag order is just too easy to avoid. The judge was already doing a complete Roland Freisler on him. And if you may want to Google Roland Freisler and see who that piece of work was, 1943, the Nuremberg judge for the Third Reich. That's what the judge was doing in this case just now. This guy Kaplan, sit down, shut up, sit down, shut up.
Threatening Habba with jail. You might
absolutely. And it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, these guys are getting a phone call like out of The Godfather, where they're now being asked to do something for the first time for all the different benefits they've gotten over the years as being judges. They're not happy about it, I'm sure. But all of these judges are being asked to do something for the deep state, and they're so far carrying out their orders.
I wanted to bring up one thing before we got off Nikki Haley, and the pun is going to be relevant here. I don't know who's running these comms teams. They need to have younger people who can catch on these things, read these things. Hold on, where is it? I know I have it here. Nikki Haley, thanks to Donald Trump. Oh, she said, hold on, where is it?
What is it?
It's a tweet where she says, I bucked the system. And
she never used the word bucked in social media. It's too easy.
Especially given her, the recent news. The tweet itself was, I said, who the heck? You bucked her? Okay, here we go. I won't bring it up. It basically says, I have never been a part of the political elite. Bullshit. I bucked the system in South Carolina, and I'm going to do the same in DC. And I just said, like, you bucked the system with the news that's recently come out. Maybe not the proper term to use. And you bucked yourself all the way to the bank is what you did. And I, put up a clip of her $8 million fortune after she bucked the system and went with the full military industrial elite.
I know she's obsessed with good old boys. I think that phrase is in one of her memoirs about 50 times. Good old boys, good old boys.
What does that mean? For that,
it's a white redneck, a reference to white rednecks in South Carolina, the good old boys, and it's something out of Dukes of Hazzard. But she, in her memoir, talks about how she's been fighting the good old boys her whole political life.
Amazing. All right, now hold on. Let's see, I can do this. Now the chat has frozen in Rumble Studio, so I got to go to the live chat. But this
is like the cone of silence with Agent 86, Maxwell Smart, and the chief. And he says, Chief, we have to use the cone of silence. And he says, Max, it never works. You go, Chief, control regulations say we have to use the cone of silence.
No, there's glitches. You got to bear with the growing pains. But now, hold on, we're going to do a test. Can we hear you, Grobert? Talk now, and I'm going to ask locals if we can hear you.
I can hear me, and I can hear you perfectly.
And I can hear you. Can you all hear Grobert? Let's see here. They're
all going to say. They're going to say, unfortunately, yes.
Okay, hold on. We're going to say Nikki loves playing the victim card. The good old boys haven't been good old in a while. Yes, we can hear Grobert. Okay. Well, Grobert, we can't see you, but while I read the chat, one of them says, the Rumble rant says, Biden stared at his watch while they were carrying coffins. By didn't he? Yeah, by the photograph. But look, a photograph also can freeze in time. Something that only lasted a nanosecond.
Yeah.
Viva, what was your take on the new Tom McDonald video? This is funny. Hold on, I'm going to bring you back in now.
Okay.
Have you seen the Tom McDonald video?
I have not. Big fan of Tom McDonald.
Okay, so Tom McDonald put out a new rap video called "Facts Don't Care," but something along those lines, and it's featuring Ben Shapiro. Now I'm not going to play it because I'm going to get immediately copy claimed.
Wow.
So, and Ben, it's not bad. It's not bad. But the amazing thing is, and this maybe will segue into our next discussion. McDonald's started taking flack because he did a what do they call them? Not a duo. He did a collab with a man who's
what's a collab?
A collaboration.
Oh, collab.
Yeah,
collab. All right.
Well, collab or a colon lab, depending on how old you are.
Right.
Bada bing, bada boom. Tom McDonald's was taking some flack because he did a collab with Ben Shapiro, who supports Israel's war in Gaza. And so people are not saying, I'm done with Tom McDonald. He supports a man who supports genocide, yada, yada. Have you been, I presume you've been following it. I know you're vocal about it.
I was over there fighting the other day. I'm just back from the Middle East.
That's a joke, everybody out there. I think, who knows? You saw the International Court of Justice's recent ruling?
Yes, the International Court of Justice. That's all I ever think about is the International Court of Justice. When were they last relevant? I ask you, what decade was the International Court of Justice last relevant in your humble opinion? Tell me their monumental last decision that was enforced by their edict.
Hold on, let me just.
I'll wait. I'll wait till you find.
Well, I was going to say
the International House of Pancakes is much more power than the International Court of Justice. I'd rather go to IHOP and get pancakes than the International Court of Justice to get justice.
Give me a break. It was created in 1946. Did they do the Nuremberg trials?
They oversaw that, but they have nothing to do with that now. I mean, that's a long time ago.
Who are the members of the International Court of Justice?
There's Babe Ruth. He was in right field. There's Lou Gehrig over at first. I mean, give me a break. What are you kidding me? This is not. We have problems with our own Supreme Court. We're going to listen to some guys in Brussels. Where do they live? Where's their headquarters?
It is Brussels, is it not?
Right. Okay, I'll go with Brussels for 20.
Hold on. Let me just Google.
Yeah, just to make sure.
International Court of Justice. What's the word I'm looking for?
You're looking for Jack Smith.
No, but what's the word I'm looking for? The
headquarters. Right. HQ.
The Hague. So it's
The Hague,
in the Netherlands. Okay. And what's the connection to Jack Smith? Tell everybody. We all know it, but what's Jack Smith been accused of, and what's he been doing these days?
He was the war crimes tribunal lawyer for, I guess, the International Court of Justice during the Bosnian War, if that's humanly possible.
It's unbelievable. So I read through the decision. So first of all, it's an interim decision, an interim, injunction enjoining Israel to do that which Israel will undoubtedly say it's already doing, to not, genocide a country, not create unnecessary or avoidable civilian casualties. Just by the sheer numbers of it, you can't be totally insensitive to it. It's something like 26,000 Palestinians have been killed since the invasion, or since October 7, I should say, where 1,200 Israelis and foreign nationals were killed. So you can't undermine that, and you can't minimize that.
Why
the
not?
vast majority of women.
Why can't I minimize that?
No, because you can't.
I don't hear the numbers coming out of Ukraine every day. Why can't I minimize that? 300,000 dead Ukrainians. I never hear about that.
Well, what I mean to say is minimize in terms of gravity, not in terms of the number. But you agree on the number. But then the question is going to be, why so many casualties? Well,
I don't know where the number's coming from. Where's it coming from? The number.
That might be a good question. Whether or not it's
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What's the 5 acronym for UNHWR? UNHWR. I forget what it is. No, it's not the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. Yeah. Well, so you can question the number. I don't think we can question the gravity of the situation. Period. But I'm reading the decision, and I can't bring it up with you in here. And let me.
That's okay. I mean, when you invade a sovereign nation, shit happens. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't ask them to invade. They didn't ask them to invade. They're flying in on hang gliders, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I can't weep for them now because they launched a scurrilous invasion against civilians. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to wrap my empathetic mind around their problems.
Well, I can wrap. No, that's not the right thing here. What the heck? Now I can't find the screen where I'm in here. Studio. I can be empathetic, but you can't deny the obvious, which is. Well, let's get here. This is from the decision, one of the paragraphs 41, and it says the court recalls that in accordance with Article 1 of the Convention, this is the Convention Against Genocide, all state parties thereto have undertaken, quote, to prevent and to punish, end quote, the crime of genocide, And this is, you ask anybody this question, they will not have an answer. And if you read it to them, they will not believe your answer. How is
Right.
genocide,
I saw you put this up this morning about the definition.
how is genocide defined in
I said this the other day. They have their own woke language, their own dictionary. In the 1990s, the New York Times and some other groups actually published urban slang dictionaries regarding hip hop and other new cultural events, and put out urban dictionaries. We need a woke dictionary. Somebody has got to publish a dictionary to explain what these terms mean. When they say genocide, they mean something completely different than the rest of the world knows to be genocide, the elimination of a race for their existence as a race, and killing them, crushing them, destroying them, kind of like the Third Reich did as an industrial genocide against the Jews in Germany and Eastern Europe during the 30s and 40s. They changed the definitions of everything. And if you don't catch up, they accuse you of not agreeing with them about their new definition of genocide. Can you put that back up and show Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, don't, please. It's
astounding. And we need a dictionary of their terms.
Well, I'm going to bring it from the actual, I'm going to just swap this in for the one that we have up here now, which is this. Bring this here. I'll come back to that tweet in a second. So it's Article 2. Here, look at this. And how do I get rid of this? We're not seeing it because I haven't. Are we seeing it? No, we're not, because I haven't gone back to presentation mode. Here. Boom shakalaka. Okay. Article 2. Listen to this. In the present convention, this is the Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide.
Okay.
When was it? Hold on. I want to see.
1948, right after the war.
Yes, but I'm wondering if this is not a more recent amendment. Let me just get to the end here. I don't know how to check this. All right, let's listen to this. The definition of genocide. In the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part. And that's very relevant.
Okay, so that contradicts the actual definition of genocide right there.
Well,
because genocide means whole, not in part. And all these other mumbo.
Well, but not just that, because in part, and I'm not trying to be glib or smarter than a lawyer, could mean one person.
Okay.
And
look at Part B, causing.
Well, no, we're getting there. So hold on,
because it's absurd. It's absurd
to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such, killing members of the group.
7 members of the group. 7.
Yep. This is causing serious bodily or mental harm.
Mental harm. I filled with anxiety is genocide. I'm really nervous about the bombings.
Wait until we get to E, because E is going to be relevant for another purpose. C, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within a group. That I definitely understand. E. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. I'm going to bring this one back because it's particularly relevant when you're talking about the kids that were just kidnapped in Israel, literally kidnapped by Hamas and then transferred to other terrorist organizations within Palestine. My point with this was, if that's the definition of genocide, and let's just operate on that basis, all right, you can agree with the ICJ's interim injunction. Have they issued one against Hamas for what they did on October 7, because that, by this very definition, would be genocide, acts of genocide, killing members of a group? Have they applied it to Hamas, whose charter is, whether or not people think from the river to the sea when someone in the West uses it without knowing the history, thinks that that's not a genocidal organization entity? Have they issued any such rulings, pressure on Hamas? And the answer is obviously not. And in which case you say, okay, well, then you have this International Court of Justice, which is politically motivated partisan hackery. And if you agree with this decision, you surely have to agree with what Hamas did on October 7 was an act of genocide. And Hamas itself is a genocidal government that rules over the Palestinian people. And if that's the case, what do you do from there?
It's a death cult. I don't even want to give them the gravitas of being an organization or a government or anything else. This is a death cult. They're willing to use their children to die, themselves to die. You can't negotiate with a death cult. It's like negotiating with the Hale-Bopp Comet people who are going to commit suicide, or Jim Jones. It's a preposterous balance that you can't really ever rectify. They're willing to die instead of negotiating with you. They're saying that they will never recognize your existence as a nation. They won't accept a two-state solution. Every single opportunity, to quote Golda Meir, which, by the way, the Helen Mirren movie, Golda, is very good, by the way. You should take a look at it, Viva. A biopic on Golda Meir starring Helen Mirren. anyway, to quote Golda Meir, the Palestinians had never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. That's just a fact. And as everyone knows, if the Palestinians laid down their weapons, there would be peace in the Middle East today. If the Israelis laid down their weapons, they'd be overrun in 72 hours and annihilated. So we've got a indirectly insane balance of power here. The only thing keeping the Israelis alive is that they have nuclear weapons.
I'm going to read a couple of the Rumble rants. I'm going to read the super chats, sorry, on YouTube before we go on over to the Rumble side.
Where are we going now? Where are we now?
You stay where you are. You'll be good.
I don't even know where I am.
Changes nothing, and we're going to be on.
Okay, I mean, you're switching around. You go from platform to platform.
Well, that's it's all. This is we have to reward Rumble for being what it is, and we have to penalize CommuTube by not gracing them with our presence or our traffic.
Well, I'm for that. I get monetized when I get out of bed. Demonetized when I get out of bed in the morning now.
I'm trying to put.
Remember, you can't spell demonetized without demon.
Mm-hmm. We got all thrust, no rudder. $20 says, thank you for coming on board tonight, Mark. Another great Sunday discussion. And then we have one more, which I still can pull up here. It says, Linda Welker, how can we prevent the MSM from agenda setting the way things are this political season and beyond? You have to turn them off. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where they're, one of the Halloween House of Horror ones, where just don't look. And speak loud so that people understand.
I've got more solutions than that, because I want the FCC to enforce the license regulations and reinstall the fair play laws that were taken out during the 80s. I think that there is plenty of muscle that can be used to rein in the mainstream media once the administration changes. And that includes the FCC enforcing current guidelines. They do not own those channels. We, the American people, own those channels. We are licensing them those channels. There has to be a tribunal in the FCC where the heads of these networks are brought in under oath, under the bright lights of congressional hearings, confronted with false news, phony disinformation, and forced to say under oath why that is airing on their networks under threat of revocation of licensure. Thanks.
You're a smart man. I can't disagree with that. There's a $5 from Keith Noah in YouTube, and there's a $25 from Beavis Wallace. Good to see you again. I'm members of both of your locals. Question. I'm sure U.S. agencies, CIA, etc., would love to make Trump sleep with the fishes. What other countries would like to and could do something like that?
Well, don't forget, Zelensky, in a feeble attempt, invited him to Kiev last week. And I thought, he's jumping on a plane to go to Kiev. But I mean, Zelensky was told, hey, this was, plan F. They're up to F, let's say. Invite him over. Let's see if he'll take the bait on that one. Zelensky said, all right, I did it. He didn't call me back. But they've got F, G, H, I, K, double NOP plans up the kazoo to deal with this situation, and they're rolling through them step by step, I think.
There's one more.
By the way, I also predict, because Biden has no rallies, and this happened yesterday for the first time in Las Vegas, I predicted 3 nights ago, they will begin to attempt to disrupt the Trump rallies with goons and various deep state operatives. So keep in mind, that's going to happen now. How the Trump people handle it is going to be interesting, but I saw them dragging people out yesterday in Las Vegas. And this will continue because they have to stop the Trump rallies. He has no rallies, Biden. He cannot allow this massive amount of people to go unmolested for 9 more months.
Yeah, they can't rely on COVID again to
all right,
to interrupt the rallies for him. All right, I'm going to read 2 of these Rumble rants, and then we're going to end it on YouTube. I'll read the top one first. Ebe, why was Netanyahu funding Hamas? Was it to prevent the 2-state solution with chaos? Why aren't they targeting leadership in Qatar? So, and Mark,
why did Kennedy shoot himself in the head?
Well, no. The funding of Hamas is a legitimate objection. It's one. Now, it's not funding Hamas because he's not cutting them a check. He's letting briefcases of cash cross from Israel to Palestine. The argument is that it's humanitarian support. The obvious reality is that it goes to people, and Hamas, the gangsters, take it from them. And so, if we're going to hold Biden's feet to the fire for releasing $10 billion or $6 billion in assets to Iran under the pretext that, well, it's only humanitarian aid. Well, good. Every dollar in humanitarian aid means that Iran doesn't have to spend it on money. They can spend it on whatever. So
I very rarely hear people complaining about General Sisi in Egypt and the equal amount of money that we give to the defense of the state of Egypt. Nobody ever says anything about Egypt, which is a brutal military dictatorship, Viva. And I very rarely hear any human outcry in the United States on the left about the amount of money that we send to the Egyptian military
Yeah,
to suppress their own people.
No, well, I think people are getting wise to it because people are saying, well,
Okay.
geez, Louise, at some point, we're funding both ends of this conflict. You're giving humanitarian aid to the Palestinians, knowing it's going to Hamas. You're releasing billions to Iran, knowing that they're using it to fund Hamas. And then you're saying, well, we'll supply arms to Israel. It's a great.
Oh, no, I agree with that premise. I mean, the giving of the billions of dollars to Iran. I mean, that's an international war crime. He should be brought up on war crimes just for that. That's insane.
Well, and now to that, I say it's somewhat analogous to what Netanyahu has been allowing to happen by transferring cash.
I'm not buying that one. I'm not buying that one, bro.
And not that I'm kicking you out for. I'm not kicking you out. You're still there.
You're kicking me off just because I disagree.
You son of a gun. No, I want to read the purple one because this is going to bring us into the next transition to Rumble. Snuggle Struggle says, speaking of invasion, every needless death of an American by those illegally crossing our borders is blood on the Biden administration's hands. Biden ignorantly, hopefully, forced Americans into harm's way. And I'll just read Eves because it came up while we're doing this. How do they get through the most secure? Dude, I've got my questions about how it happened, the extent to which it happened, and I think that needs to be answered because you're going to say, okay, it was the biggest intelligence failure in Israel's history. Now let's rely on that same intelligence to wage a proper response. That's a legitimate question that I have that I get called.
I've said this to you before. I think it was the Five Eyes duping them into and to putting their guard down during the holidays. And I think that they believed that what the CIA and NSA were telling them was true. And I think that was.
But Mark, that's a big problem because it's one of two things. It's either the biggest intelligence failure in Israel's history, or something much more nefarious, which much more nefarious. Sort of the Lee Hops, where you can say, well, now we got
it's the equivalent of fighting the Japanese in World War II a year into the war and still harping about Pearl Harbor. Either you're going to kill all the Japanese and fight the war, or you're going to sit there talking about Pearl Harbor for 5 years.
True.
I mean, at some point, you got to get it on.
That is the obvious.
I mean, obviously, they had tribunals about Pearl Harbor. The admirals were castigated. They didn't want to remove their own admirals because they were just starting a war. That would have been like cutting your own throat. So, what is the point? What is the point? Your nation is under attack. Should they have hearings on TV and put these guys in jail? I mean, is that going to help the state of Israel?
It might actually. I mean, it might, and that might be. And that was what I sort of proposed from day one. I'm not relying on the people who just blew it to have a proper response, and for those who think or want to argue that this was pretextual, so that Netanyahu could have his excuse to never have a two-state solution, raise more of Gaza, either appropriate the land or create a bigger buffer zone. It's a convenient tragedy, and I can't blame people for thinking that.
Okay.
Now, getting to the border. We are ending on YouTube, and how many are we on X? Let me see here.
What's on X? We're
live on X. It's just it's one of the functions they let you link it through. Are we still live on X? Refresh this. I want to see.
Did you see Bill Maher with David Mamet last night? By the way,
I did not. Was it good?
It's very interesting. 2-hour interview with the two of them. At one point they clash, but they kind of back off because it's so crazy that they can't go head to head. They just realize it would end badly. And then they go back to show business talking, which is much more peaceful, but fascinating anyway.
I'll go check it out because I think I like Mamet. What we're doing right now, we're ending. So I'm going to go to the little button here.
Okay.
Where is it? It's up here. Sorry. No, where is it? It's down here. It's up here. It's up here. And it says all platforms. And now we are going to Rumbles and Locals only. So YouTube, get your butts on over. The link is pinned. Whoever's watching left on X, come on over. And now we are going to Rumble and Locals